Today we will look at greatest common factors and least common multiples in story problems and use keywords to decide whether we are using the GCF or the LCM. Some key clue words that you can use are listed in the boxes. For example, with greatest common factor, biggest, largest, most, equal, divide. Least common multiple, every so many days, like every 3 days you have homework. Identical, smallest, next time. Notice that equal is in both lists, so you need to be careful with and think about the numbers in each situation. So the first problem reads, a choir director at your school wants to divide the choir into smaller groups. There are 24 sopranos, 60 altos, 36 tenors. Each group will have the same number of each type of voice. What is the greatest number of groups that can be formed? Well, one thing to think about with this problem is there's only so many students. We can't make more students. And multiples are always a number that is greater than the original or more. So right there tells us that we probably aren't doing multiples. And then if we look at our key words, we have the word divide in the problem. We also have same and greatest. These are all things for greatest common factor. So we are going to be using greatest common factor. At least two clues that helped me were divide, groups, and greatest. When I go to solve the problem, I first list out the factors for all of the numbers, starting with 24, then 60, then 36. Remember, factors are smaller than the number themselves. They are what you multiply to get your target number. After writing out all the factors, I then look at the list to find what is the largest number that is the same in all three lists. If I look through, 12 occurs in all three lists. So 12 is the greatest common factor, which means that is the total number of groups that I can make with the choir members. Now, if they were going to ask another question and say, well, how many of each type of singer is in a group? Then you're going to look at the factor pair that gives you the target number with 12. So 12 times 2 is 24. There will be 2 sopranos. 12 times 5 is 60. So there will be 5 altos. And 12 times 3 is 36. So there will be 3 tenors. Looking at the next problem, it says Mary and Nancy work at a calculator producing factory. It is their job to inspect the calculators to make sure that they are working before the calculators are shipped to stores. If Mary inspects every 12th calculator and Nancy inspects every 9th calculator, which calculator will be the first that they both inspect? Again, I want to look for clue words, and there's a couple that really stand out to me in this problem. We have first. I'm looking for an event that repeats over and over. They're going to do something, and when are they going to do it again together? That is a least common multiple situation. There's also this every 12th calculator and every 9th calculator. It's an event that's repeating over and over. These clues tell me that this is a least common multiple problem. So my clue words for this are first and the every so many calculators. To solve this problem, I'm going to list out the multiples of the number. Remember, multiples are many. They get larger than your original number. So I'm listing the multiples of 12 and the multiples of 9. Start by listing the first 5 multiples, and then if you need to, you can keep listing more after that. Once you have the multiples listed, compare the lists to find the smallest number that is in both lists. Since 36 is in both lists, this is our least common multiple. So the 36th calculator is the one both Mary and Nancy will inspect. Our next problem says that there are 100 seniors and 80 juniors in the homecoming parade. The students split up into groups of equal size to fit on the parade floats. They want the most students possible on each float, with just juniors or just seniors on each float. How many students should be on each float? So in order to do this, we have to look first for our keywords. That the word each and split up and equal size tell us that we are looking for a greatest common factor. Another clue is that we can't make more students appear than what we already have, so we're splitting them into smaller groups. Factors are smaller than your original number, so we are looking for our greatest common factor. Words that help me decide were split up, equal size, and each. The first step is to list the factors for each of the numbers. I list the factors for 100 and 80. Then I compare the list. Now notice, there are many factors the same in this list. 1, 2, 4, 10, 20 all appear in both lists. But 20 is the largest number, so that is our greatest common factor. And that tells us that there will be 20 students on each float. Go ahead and glue this in to the left-hand side of your notebook. When that is finished, work on your classwork.